Thanks for doing this. And you've got such a rich and diverse background from serving in the military to now leading in education and in AI as well. Why don't you tell us your backstory?
Sure. So, my degree, my initial bachelor's degree, is in psychology. So, I found that very interesting as far as how the mind works, and that led me more into understanding this computer interaction, right? So, how a human interacts with a computer. So that was sort of the foundational aspect of how I started with everything. From there, I ended up getting a degree, a master's degree in instructional technology because I was very interested in how technology plays a role with helping people learn. So during the time that I got my master's, I was in the military still in the National Guard, and I was working with the military as an instructor, as a certified instructor. So I was helping the military to create other instructors. So that was the main role that I had. And I found that very, very sort of fulfilling. So I liked that. And then that led me to want to pursue an even higher degree in education. So I ended up getting my PhD in education with a focus in leadership, adult learning, and online instruction. So those were sort of the original origins of everything. And then that led me to really focus in on how people start to understand things, how instructors start to learn things. I worked a lot with the Center for Teaching and Learning at the university that I was getting my PhD at. I was also working there. I dealt with a lot of media, so I was sort of an educational media consultant.
Brilliant. And what piqued your interest around AI?
Yeah, so that's another interesting adventure in itself. So when I started to work at the university, I was there again just as a lecturer, and then I also became the director for research. I dealt with the research and assessment aspects, and so part of that was also being the director for the Center for Teaching and Learning. And one of the things that I got asked to do was to look at what the university was doing to help address academic misconduct. So I started to write a white paper to help the executive team, the leadership, the president, the provost. And in doing my research, I started to see, okay, these are the different things that the university is doing. These are some additional things. This is what the research says. And then as I went in deeper, I also started to find out about artificial intelligence and how students were starting to use artificial intelligence more and more. And this was at the very beginning of 2022. So I went down that rabbit hole of learning more about AI, the applications, how it works, accessibility, and it really opened up my eyes. I mean, I was always interested in AI because it was just a cool technology, but I wasn't aware it had much it had advanced and how accessible it was to students. And so more and more students were starting to use it as an aid to their learning. A lot of them didn't know how to use it properly, so they were using it inappropriately. And the research was showing that most students at that time using AI didn't think that it was cheating at all because it didn't fall within the categories of cheating that they had been exposed to, or they thought that it was some other new tool that sort of didn't fall within that realm. So I wrote my first article, my first journal article about this, talking about the important need for academia to embrace AI because there's so much potential with it, and also to help students and everyone understand about AI literacy so that they could use it effectively as well as ethically, which was an issue that was a prominent thing that needed to be addressed. So that was about, I would say, about 5 months before ChatGPT came out. So it was already available. Students were already using it. And then once ChatGPT really hit, then of course there was this huge opening floodgates of accessibility and that people could access it and use it. And so when that happened, I felt sort of a real need to help academia because I was director for Center for Teaching and Learning, as well as I had just done this research article talking about it. So when it came out in November, uh, right after that, I started to really research it, ChatGPT, use it, experiment with it, and I spent my entire Christmas break writing a book. So that's when I wrote my first book about ChatGPT and how it could be used in the classroom and different aspects about, understanding how to use it properly. That came out, pushed that out as soon as possible. And then I started to see that that wasn't enough. People still needed more and more knowledge about this. So I wrote another book dealing with AI literacy specifically, is the AI literacy imperative. And that focused very much on the different aspects of AI literacy.
So at that elementary level and high school level, how would teachers integrate generative AI and also have a mindset around helping the students be critical thinkers, critically using the tool and the information?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's something that, there's lots of, I won't say arguments, but lots of debates that happen. Uh, I'm on Twitter a lot as well as LinkedIn, and there's lots of discussions about, well, no, students shouldn't even be exposed to AI until much later. And the big thing to understand is that so many instructors have this false dichotomy. They think that it's an all or nothing, and it should never be an all or nothing. One of the infographics that I made displays this continuum of AI integration into education, right? So it's this continuum in that we can go from not using it at all to just talking about it to allowing students to use it for any parts of their assessments or their assignments. So there's a huge spectrum in the middle there. So for any assignment, for any topic, the instructor is very important because they have to make this purposeful decision about when to use it, how to use it, at what level. They need to be really thinking about it and deciding, okay, you know what, we are going to use AI for this, or you know what, we're not going to use AI for this. Why? Because I want you to gain foundational knowledge about this. So maybe later on in the semester, we're going to bring in the AI to use it for this assignment in some way. So again, the different ways that it can be implemented, and there's all sorts of different possibilities. The instructor has to be making those decisions. And the big thing that I push when I talk about this is that those instructors, all of us, really need to be thinking about this because we're going to be pushed more and more. We're going to be asked more and more by the students, well, why can't I use AI for this? When I graduate and I go to my job, I'm going to be using AI anyways. So why can't I use it for this assignment? So we have to be ready to be able to explain to them, that's a great question. You will be using AI, but later on in the semester or for another assignment. Right now, I want to understand your capabilities here at this level, and then we're going to build on top of that. But the instructor needs to be ready to express that. Now, talking about maybe students that are in elementary or lower levels, again, it totally depends. But a simple way to develop a young person's capabilities in AI literacy is simply by having a discussion, by displaying something like, hey, this is what the AI says about this. Let's talk about this. Hey, here's a video. What do you notice about this video? The video is the president saying something, but I don't think the president would say that. Really? Well, this is actually a deep fake. So let's talk about this. Do you know that AI can create this? So again, that awareness, building that awareness, understanding the capabilities, and having these discussions about appropriateness. When is it appropriate to use an AI? When is it not? Whenever I give an assignment in my class now, professional communications, I give the assignment, I talk about it. We have a rubric, I show the rubric, we talk about it, and then we talk about AI. And I do this for every single assignment. I ask my students directly, I said, okay, how could somebody use AI appropriately for this assignment? And then we talk about things like, oh, well, it would probably be okay to use AI for brainstorming or maybe to get feedback. Okay, would it be appropriate to just feed this to the AI and have it do it for us? Okay, well, that might be too far. So we come to an agreement on what we can use the AI for and what we can't. I find that really helps for us to be on the same page and come to this understanding of what are we looking for? Why are we doing this? The relevancy of it, and when we want to use AI more, when we want to use it less.
So, how do you suggest that someone in higher education, particularly, does their next assignment or their next accessible outcome in a course? How
Mhm.
could they, and if they've not allowed AI before, never tried to use it before, what would be their first step to give that a go?
Yeah, great question. So again, I go back to that infographic that I was telling you about with the
Mm.
continuum, right? So you definitely want to start small so you don't get overwhelmed. And there's many different ways to think about the AI because the AI could be something that helps you as the instructor to prepare for your course. It can help you to create scaffolding to help students, to create additional quizzes, simulations like we talked about, games, all sorts of things. I'm actually working on a book right now about using AI to assist you as an instructional designer. So again, I love instructional designers. They're great. I've worked with a bunch of them, but not all universities, not all schools have instructional designers. So
Mm.
the idea of having now an AI tool that can be an instructional designer for us is revolutionary as far as I'm concerned, because now I can go to that AI whenever I have any type of problem, and I
Mm.
can ask the AI these types of questions. One of the recent videos that I just did for my YouTube channel dealt with, now we're doing end of course evaluations, right? Many universities and different educational institutions are finishing up their semester, so they're doing end of course evaluations. Well, now you could take that end of course evaluation, take out any names or any personal information, feed that to the AI, give it all to the AI and say, hey, can you please do a content analysis for me? And
Mm.
it'll go through, review it, and then present you a really good content analysis. Hey, here's the overall themes. Here are some trends that I saw with the information. Here's some issues for you to work on. Great. Now I can take that information and then feed it back to the AI. I can ask the AI, hey, act as an instructional designer at this level. Help me with my course, which is this. And here are the problems that my students noted. What can you recommend that I do to enhance my course? And it'll
Mm.
give you really good information. So that already is a great way that an instructor could start to implement, right? Because maybe you get something like, oh, my students say that we need to do more hands-on learning. It's all too theoretical. There's not enough praxis. There's not enough actual implementation. Feed that to the AI. Now the AI will give you lots of recommendations for, oh, well, here's what you can do for hands-on learning. Here's a practical exercise that you could do in class. So now you could take that and actually implement. So lots of different possibilities with the AI to help an instructor go through it slowly, step by step. And the greatest powerful thing about this with the AI that so many instructors forget is when you pose a prompt and you get some information, you don't have to end there. It's a conversation. So you can continue to have that conversation. Oh, give me more ideas. Tell me how to do that step by step. Uh, how would it be different if I only have 10 students instead of 25 students?
Mm.
What if they're all female students? What if I have a couple of students that have some special needs? Or what can I do different for them? Again, the AI will help you with all these different possibilities.
How do people get hold of your book, The 9-Point Action Plan for Using Generative AI in Education?
Yeah, so that I'm really excited about that book because I've been helping different universities, different educational institutions around the world, because there's lots of need for these things. I'm really excited about tomorrow. Tomorrow I have a special presentation from this major center for teaching and learning in Pakistan, right? So again, totally jumping all over the world. I've done Tunisia, Jamaica, United States, different parts of Europe, Austria, or no, Australia. So Pakistan is something very interesting to talk about. But again, so there's all these different institutions, and what I find is that a lot of them are doing things all over the place, trying different things to try and address
Mm.
the issue. So what I try to do is put things together in an actual action plan. These are things that I've noticed, again, through research as well as experiencing it myself. These are the things that need to happen. There's 9 steps in there. Some of those things can happen simultaneously, but all of those things need to be addressed because this is a major situation, a major evolution that's occurring within education. It needs to be addressed from multiple aspects in order for it to be fully addressed so that faculty come up and are able to help with this. So are the staff. The staff is important, of course, the students, but there's a full circle here that has to occur in order for us to really address the situation. So I came up with that book, the 9-Point Action Plan for integration of generative AI into education. It's available on Amazon. I've been trying to post different videos about it. I've written some articles about it, but again, this is something that I want to continually push and then have my YouTube channel serve as an additional resource to continue to help with that, because a major part of this is that all faculty need to have training, right, to develop this. But it's something where we need to have this mindset of lifelong learning, because although the technology will continue to change, it will continue to evolve, just like we talked about here with the great announcement from OpenAI, there's still foundational knowledge that everyone has to develop. That AI literacy, that will never change. That's foundational that everyone must have in order to be able to even understand how to use it effectively and ethically, like we talked about.
Mm. What's the best way for people to get hold of you if they wish to engage you for speaking and things like that?
Yeah, so again, LinkedIn, I'm heavy in LinkedIn as well as Twitter. So those would be, or X, whatever you want to call it. Those are the two best ways to actually get a hold of me. YouTube is also really important. Leave me a text on there, a comment on one of my videos, and I'll get a hold of you as well.
Fantastic. I'll make sure that your LinkedIn profile link and your Twitter X link is there as well, and also your YouTube channel. So thank you so much for your time, Dr. Brent.
Great.
Really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate this opportunity.